we've been in the book of Job for 2 weeks. And if this is your first time being at Kingdom State University or second time, one of the things that we do is, we raise awareness, we educate, and we inspire, because that is what God does for us. Right? He raises our awareness. He lets us know that the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. He gives us both ends of the spectrum. He does not deceive us. He says, hey, this is what it is. This is what a life apart from me gets you, and this is what a life in me gets you. Right? Of course, being educated, taking on the disciples, going from spiritual immaturity to spiritual maturation, developing them, pouring into them, investing in them, doing life with them, putting them in position so that they can carry on the gospel. That's exactly what God has called us to do, to make disciples, to go forth, to do life with individuals, right? To put them in position to be who God has created them to be. And then, of course, when Jesus says that the world will know that you are mine by your love for one another. Right? When we love like Christ does, it's a statement to the culture. It's inspirational. It's unique. And that's exactly what we seek to do. It's to raise awareness, to educate, to inspire toward a loving relationship with Christ. And one of the things that we do at Kingdom State University is, right? He said, well, what is that? What is he about to name this time? But one of the things that I'm very intentional about is increasing that retention, right? So we've been in Job for 2 weeks, but we've only seen the first 2 chapters. And Job is a significant book. So we're going to stick with this another week today. We're going to look at some things. We're going to progress through this because it's a very significant book. It carries a lot of weight. Has it been a blessing thus far? Yes? Yes? Now see, I got to put somebody on the spot. As soon as you answer, I got to tell you why it's been a blessing. So why has this book thus far been a blessing? What has stuck with you?
There's purpose behind the pain.
There's purpose behind the pain. Job is an interesting book because it's a book that will trouble you and touch you at the same time. It's a book that starts out in an amazing fashion. You see this honorable man, you see this blameless man, you see this man with integrity, you see this upright man who fears God, who shuns evil. And he's the greatest in all of the land in the East. It doesn't get any better than that, right? If I live my life dedicated to God, if I put him first, if he's the foundation of my life, if he's the center of my life, right? Then I put myself in position to have favor from the Lord, to experience his goodness, his grace, his mercy, all the blessings that come from a life in him. And then the end result is what? Everything that I touch is blessed by God, because that's what we see from Job. His family is blessed. He's got 7 sons, and sons weighed more than daughters back then. And he had 7 of them. A significant number. And on top of that, he had 3 daughters, another significant number. Job had 10 children. Blessed. God blessed his family. And he was in position to be influential. He said, well, those are the kind of people that you want to have a platform. Those who love God, those who have integrity, those who have high character. And God puts them in position to be influential in the land. But that's only a couple of verses. So it starts out very high, but it's like, okay, we got 41 more chapters to go. Where does it go from here? Because that's life, isn't it? That's what we strive to be. That's what we strive to get to. We dedicate our lives to God. And we say, God, use me in whatever fashion that you can. God, if you bless me, then I can be a blessing to other people. That's our prayer. So it touches you in that favor, but then it troubles you because then God gives us access to these heavenly conversations that are taking place between him and Satan. Very interesting. Because God is the one who initiates the conversation to Satan for Job to be afflicted. A conversation that he has no idea what's taking place, but that would affect his life going forward. He goes through things, he experiences these things, and unbeknownst to him, the God who he serves, who's the foundation of his life, has lifted the hedge or removed the boundaries so that Satan can afflict him. Satan says this. The reason he's probably faithful to you, God, and I'm paraphrasing this so that we understand it. The reason that he's faithful to you is because you keep blessing him. It's easy to love somebody and love you back. It's easy to say thank you when all you're doing is receiving things that you want. He said, but if you stop giving him that, then I bet you he'll curse you to your face. So catastrophe, tragedy hits Job. And it's simultaneous. He wakes up blessed. He wakes up like any other day. But then he gets all of this bad news. At the same time, it's overlapping because as messengers are coming to give him bad news, another messenger is coming to give him bad news. He loses his family. He loses everything that he has. All of his wealth. He's reduced down to nothing. In one day. And the enemy says, you know what? This is it. This is what I've been waiting to do for this man. To reveal that his faith wasn't genuine in the first place. To accuse him of being a liar, to being a front runner. But through that, Job still honors God. He says, naked I came into this world and naked I shall leave. You know what? Everything that I've been given to me is a gift from God. So you know what? He's in position to take that from me as well. So then there's another conversation that takes place. Unbeknownst to Job, Satan comes back again and he says, you know what? Skin for skin. You touch things around him, but let's touch the man. And I bet that the pressures of life, that when you squeeze him, what will come out is that God, he will curse you. He will curse your name. If I touch him a little bit harder, if I squeeze him a little bit harder, if I afflict him a little bit more, if I take him through some more down spirals in this life, then I know it'll reveal that the faith wasn't genuine. So God says, very well. You can touch the man, but you cannot have his life. And you say, well, why would God allow us to see this? Conversations taking place between him and Satan. And you know what we can draw from that? Is that as powerful as the enemy is, as much as we go through, guess what? It's still God's Satan. Which means there's limits to what he can do. And that's something to shout about because we go through things sometimes where we think that the enemy is reigning over everything and that he is powerful and he's all powerful depending on what we're going through, but he's still got limitations when it comes to God's children. So God says, you know what? I'll give you access to conversations that take place in heaven to show you that as bad as it gets, I'm still in control. And so the second trial comes where Job is afflicted. And then even his wife comes to him. Oh, we got some married people in here. Know that when your spouse speaks, see, they carry a lot of weight. What they say carries a lot of weight because of the place that they occupy in your heart. And his wife comes to him. Listen here, I didn't sign up for this. Now, my family gone, my babies are gone. We ain't got no money. Now you don't look the way you used to look when I married you. You afflicted with all these sores. Look at your body, look at this. What is this? There's no medicine for this. I don't see no upside. And even in that, Job says, what woman you talking like a foolish woman? Who you been talking to? He don't even dishonor her in that situation. He don't call her foolish. He said, you talking like a foolish woman. Where you get that foolishness from? He said, should we not? Are we only supposed to accept good from God and not bad? If he's in control, if he's sovereign, if he reigns over everything, do you only think that he's in tune when good things are going on? Do you not think that he's in control when bad things are going on? But even in that, because he's an upright man, because he's blameless, and these are God's words about this man, we actually see that even in that, even in a rough moment, even when his wife is speaking, whose words carry a lot of weight, and his feelings probably hurt too, he said, woman, you talking like a foolish woman. Where you get that from? So we see Job in the first 2 chapters, and there's so much more that we touched on the last 2 weeks. I can't re-preach all of it, but I got to build up to where we are today. But we see in the first 2 chapters, there's 2 trials that happen in Job's life. And he passes both of those tests. He doesn't curse God, he still honors God. So when we look at the book of Job, it teaches us how to handle pain. Because we all go through it. It teaches us how to handle suffering. It teaches us how to handle affliction. It teaches us how to handle the plight and to deal with the plight of humanity. Because we live in a broken world, we live in a fallen world. Things ain't always right. And then when things are right, we can still find something wrong with it. But for the first 2 chapters, guess what? God positions us very high. We're seated in this spiritual realm. We're looking down on a man's life. And we see his pain. We see his loneliness. We see his affliction. Right? You say, well, how is that? How are we seated higher? How are we looking down on this situation? Because God invites us to him, to his level. He says, these are conversations that are taking place in heaven. I'm calling everybody. I'm calling my angels. I'm calling this heavenly council, and they're reporting to me, and Satan comes because he reports to me. And I ask you, what you been doing all day? Where you been? Roaming to and fro like I can only do. Trying to touch and afflict whoever I can. So we're seated high. And then we get a chance to see a conversation that takes place that impacts what takes place in the physical realm, that takes place in Job's life. But now, as we move into chapter 3, we come down to his level. And that's what we're going to pick up. Are we good? See all of this. Y'all gotta go back and read those. Or watch those. Go back and watch them. We're gonna pick up right here. Job's 3 friends, Eliphaz, the Temanite, Bildad, the Shuhite, Zophar. Let's try it. Give it to me. I'm gonna go with that. The name of thing. Heard about all the troubles that had come upon him. They set out from their homes and they met together by agreement to go and sympathize. Remember this, to go and sympathize with him and to comfort him, right? When they saw him from a distance, oh my God! Is that you? Say him. This ain't him. Oh Lord, this ain't him. Fix your face, fix your face. They could hardly recognize him. They began to weep aloud, and they tore their robes and they sprinkled dust on their heads. Then they sat on the ground with him for 7 days. I can't sleep. And 7 nights. No one said a word. They were just in his presence because they saw how great his suffering was. A lot of sign going on, a lot of nonverbals for 7 days and 7 nights. But then let's move to chapter 3. They're with him for 7 days and 7 nights. Then we get a chance to hear Job. After this, Job opened his mouth and he cursed the day of his birth. And he said, may the day of my birth perish. And the night that it was said a boy is conceived. Why did I not perish and birth and die as I came from the womb? I want to get some of these notes because I don't want to read all of chapter 3. I want to hit some of these. We go to verse 23. He says, why is life given to a man whose way is hidden, whom God has hedged in? Why? For sighing has become my daily food. My groans pour out like water. What I feared the most has come upon me. What I dreaded has happened to me. I have no peace, no quietness. I have no rest, but only turmoil. Heavenly Father, God, we thank you for today, God. We thank you for this word. We thank you for your sovereignty, Lord God. We thank you for your purposefulness. For nothing about you is random, God. Everybody who is here is supposed to be here today, Lord God. And so we thank you, and I just pray that you decrease me to the smallest capacity, God, so that you may increase. Allow me to be a free-flowing vessel that's full of your word, that pierces the flesh, that touches the heart, that meets each and every one of us exactly where we are. God, I pray that you not only minister through me, but to me as well. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. This is the blessing that Job offers, the book of Job offers us, is that it doesn't hide how tragedy affects him. These are raw emotions. These are real feelings. And the book places a high emphasis on Job's loneliness because he's got people in his life that have come around him. He's got people who heard about his affliction that are coming to his aid, but he's still talking to himself. It puts emphasis on his loneliness. It puts emphasis on his pain. You've got an entire monologue that's taking place, and Job is just talking to himself. But he's got people that are there for him. He's got people that are around him. We had a series on discipleship, and the topic of it was success through process. Things take time. There's a process for things. God works through a process. We get restored, we get healed, process. We're at the beginning. So you got what? 40 chapters to go. We're at the beginning of a journey that Job is on, and he's processing this tragedy that's happening in his life. He said, well, how could it be that this man still honors God, but then goes back and say, cursed is the day I was born. I don't even want to be here. It gives us a real look at the man, because now we're not just looking upon from a high position. We're not just looking upon his plight. We're actually toe to toe, level to level, man to man, seeing how this affects him. It's revealing what's in his heart. The first 2 chapters go like this. Suffer, but trust God. My brother, my sister, just trust God. Look at Job. That's all he did. He lost everything, but just trust God. One test came, just trust God. Look at how Job responded. Just trust God. And a lot of times, we do people a disservice by keeping things two-dimensional. There's affliction, but you gotta trust. There's pain, but you gotta trust. There's suffering, but you gotta trust. All of that is head knowledge. Do I know that God exists? Yes. Do I believe in God? Yes. But I'm feeling some things because of what I'm going through. I'm thinking some things because of what I've experienced and what I lost and what I thought I should have had. Yeah, I believe in God, but life hurts. It's almost dehumanizing to not pay attention to how things weigh on us mentally and emotionally. And honestly, that's why we have a bad rap sometimes, because this is what we do. And people are like, yeah, I know that. But what about the way I feel? Always remember how the book starts, because it carries the most weight. Job is who he is from God's own mouth. God calls him blameless, meaning he ain't doing nothing wrong. God calls him upright, meaning that he's a man of high character. God says he fears me, which means the relationship is there. And God says he shuns evil, meaning that he's upright, he's got the morals. What you see is what you get, he's consistent. This is what God says about him, not other men who are trying to just figure things out, but the one who knows the truth. So a man that's right, a man that's still highly viewed in God's sight, a man who's still faithful and honorable to God, still goes through things where he's like, you know what, why am I even here? God allows us to see the man because he's honoring the fullness of us. He says, I know you'll go through things where you still believe in me, but you still question your very existence sometimes. I know you still love me. I know you still believe in me and you honor me, but it doesn't stop what you're thinking and what you're feeling based on what you've gone through. God is saying, you know what? I'm honoring that. I want to shed light on that. I want to look at the whole man to show you that I care about the whole man. chapter 2 and chapter 1. Job still honors God, but it happens at the very beginning of the book where there's so much more to take place. Perhaps for God to show us that I understand that life is not that simple. Because if it was that simple, it would have just ended after Job's 2 replies. Suffering, but just trust God. Yes, that's part of it. But we still feel things. Job starts to curse the day that he was born. See, sometimes when you go through things, the pain is so heavy, the cloud is so thick, that you can't see forward, so all you do is just look back with regrets. I'm at the point of death right now. I'm just holding, I don't even know why God has not taken me. I don't even have anything else to live for. These could be real feelings. Yes, I honor God, but everything about me is gone. My family gone. What I worked for is gone. The life that I've built is gone. And I've put so much into this. This meant so much to me. And now you take it from me? There is no more future for me. So all I can do is look back. All I can do is reflect on the past with regrets. And say, why am I even here? Why did I even have to be here? And then he goes further than that. And he blesses the day of his conception. Why would you bless the day of your conception? Because Job is very explicit about his pain. He says, not only do I bless the day I was cursed, but I wish the womb was closed. Because conception is hope. You say, well, it's hope. Yes, it's hope. Conception is hope. You say, well, how so? I never heard that before. What do you mean by that? Conception, when you know that there's something there now, you have something to look forward to. Through a process, you know there will come a day to where something is brought into manifestation. So you actually get a chance to experience that which is in seed formation right now. So it's hope. And what do? We celebrate that. We discuss it. If it's a boy, his name gonna be this. If it's a girl, her name gonna be this. We create an environment that's ready, that's suitable. For that baby coming into. We picking out colors. We got baby showers, gifts. It's the whole 9. But you do all of that from what you find out. It gives you hope. It gives you something to look forward to. So you plan for that. You get excited about what's to come. It's this spirit of anticipation because you are doing things for something that is not actually in your hands yet. So when you look at Job is saying, I don't even see a future. I can't see past this pain. I can't see past this plight. So essentially, Job is saying, if I didn't even have a past, then I would not even be in the future. I would not be in the present right now. If none of that would have happened, if the womb would have been closed, then there would be absolutely zero chance of me being here and experiencing this. So I would have rather not even been created. But these are real feelings. These are real things. But have you guys recognized that even though Job wants to die, he's not giving up? Even though life is really hard and he's lost everything, he ain't giving up. He wants to, but he's not. And then he does something very interesting. These are just a couple of verses within chapter 3, because this is Job speaking in all of chapter 3. Verse 11 says this: why did not I perish at birth and die as I came from the womb? Before I even knew I was here, why couldn't you just take me in? Why were there knees to receive me and breasts that I might be nursed? Why did you even put the people around to bring me into this world? Why is life given to those in misery and life to the bitter of soul? And why is life given to a man whose way is hidden, whom God has hedged in? Things happen in life that cause us to pose the same questions. Why? 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 Why is the uniqueness of me a bad thing? There was nobody like Job, very unique. These are God's words. Everything that's good about me is actually working against me. The uniqueness of me is actually working against me. Why is that? We've all been there. Why do I care the way I do? God, why did you make me like this? Why do I care so much? Why do I see so much? How come some things just don't skip my sight so that I don't even have to be bothered by that? Why did I even see that? God, why do you make me so attentive to details? God, why did you make me the way that I am? Why do I keep giving him a second chance? Why is the uniqueness of me, God, bringing all of this pain upon me? Why am I so nice? Why am I so forgiving? Because it seems like those good qualities are working against me. That's real. Job said, I thought I did everything right. I'm actually the one who should have influence over people because I'm leading them and I'm representing and I'm a reflection of you. Ain't nobody else out here doing this, so why is that working against me? And then Job says, you know what? This is not even about me anymore. This is about life. Why is life given to a man whose way is hidden? Whom God has hedged in? How does this, I'm trying to figure out life now. Because the way I understood life is being turned upside down. So now, my bearings are off. Now it's getting hard for me to comprehend things. I don't know up from down now. But these are raw emotions. These are real feelings. If you lose everything that you've been living for, what's the point of living? Is there even a point? Watch this. And I'm gonna close with this. Even in Job's darkest moment, because this is not by mistake, this is all under God's control. Watch this. Even in Job's darkest moment, he's asking why, he's asking why, he's asking why, he's asking why. And he's talking to God. Like I said, Job is a book of extremes. Won't unpack it today, don't have time, but go and listen to the message from last week. But it's a book of extremes, right? So you have very few who've suffered as much as Job. You have very few who've had as much as Job. So Job represents both extremes. When he had everything and he was the greatest man, God is still the focus. When he loses everything and life is very dark, God is still the focus. God says this: regardless of what happens in life, from A to Z, whether it's good or it's bad, I must be dealt with. As good as it is, or as bad as it can get, I cannot be avoided. Sometimes it's hard to get people's attention about the necessity of God when things are okay. And then sometimes it's hard to get people's attention when the bottom has fell out in life. Because then it's, why would he let this happen and it hurts so bad? And what God is saying, because we're not finished with this book yet, only in chapter 3. But what God is letting us know is that I'm on this side, and I'm where it's bad too. And unbeknownst to Job, God has already set a limit on how much Job is going to go through. So Job feels like there's only death left because nothing has ever felt this bad. And God says, there's still things and there's still portions of you and there's still your life which is precious to me that I haven't let the enemy touch. I've still got you. And because you are a blameless man, because you are an upright man, and because we live in a fallen world where everybody's life won't be good, People need to see what genuine faith is and how to respond in affliction. God is relational. He makes himself known to us. He did life with us. He's all about revealing himself to us. And for us living this physical life, we need tangible examples of how to go through life, regardless of what life brings, with our hand still in God's hand. Job asks why, but he wants to die. Why would he do that? Because there's still hope. When there's no more hope, you don't ask questions. You don't want to know why when there's no more hope. So this is where the feelings are being honored. But what he knows is still coming forth. The relationship with God is still stronger than the feelings. Emotionally, I want to die. But I can't stop trying to discover why. God, I still want to know more of you because I want to know, how would you let me experience this? So even in the affliction, there's still a pursuit of God. And I told you last week, I can't unpack it again, but this foreshadows Jesus. A blameless man who goes through affliction, who has some dark hours, who asks God why. Jesus, a sinless man, blameless man, who had even deeper darkness, that was afflicted, who suffered, and said, my God, why have you forsaken me? So Job still points to the cross. Because Jesus asks why. But on the other side of the cross is life and resurrection. It's hope. And so yes, life is very dark sometimes. We go through seasons of life where we can't figure things out.